Hello everybody, and this week I've been having a little bit of a tinker around with Octodad, Dadliest Catch on PS4. So can I please get an intro now? So, Octodad, Dadliest Catch. Oh God, this is stupid. Now, to be completely honest, I have never played the first Octodad game, but now, after playing this, good God, I really want to now. And for those of you who have no idea what the fuck an Octodad is or what you even do with one, basically this game series covers the exploits and adventures of a loving, supportive father and devoted family man, who is also a secret octopus and nobody even realises it. Fucking done! In 2010, the original free Octodad game, which was developed by a few students at a Chicago university, was actually one of the first ever to get the Steam greenlight. And due to everything about it, being the synopsis, the control scheme, the utter ridiculousness of it, and all of that shit, critics and the public fell in love with this character and the gameplay, and so a proper, retailed and priced, fully fledged sequel was in the works to be released on, well, multi-platforms. And where this game was released on Steam in like January of 2014, so I am a bit late for this like bandwagon, I suppose. This was actually released on PS4 in late April 2014. So as you can tell from the date that this video has been made, I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but then after everyone said I should give it a go, I had to make a video about it after I played it. As far as I can understand and see from my perceptive eye, this game is pretty much the exact same thing as its predecessor, except it does everything a sequel should do. More environments, more challenges, more levels, more character interactions, more story, all of that good stuff. As I said before, basically the whole point of this game is that you control Octodad, who has somehow tricked absolutely everyone into believing that he's just a normal, everyday dad. But being a fucking octopus, basically getting through each and every day without raising a little bit of suspicion is not easy, and it requires lots of individual limb control and complex, very complex structure and thought behind it. And so then when you go to accomplish some utterly mundane tasks such as grocery shopping or making lunch, they become extremely difficult without bumping into people and getting ink all over them or just knocking shit over everywhere, which then raises your suspicion meter and make people, you know, double take you and make you think, am I getting away with being a secret octopus? And then ultimately, if that suspicion meter goes too far, you can then fail the stage. This is more or less everything, game mechanics wise, that you get from start to finish. But you know what? It actually takes this really simple and silly idea, but squeezes it into many hilarious situations and really challenging level designs, side goals, puzzles, and really fun environments to traverse through, and cause utter havoc around. And not to mention even escape scenes from the only main antagonist of the game being this crazy-ass chef that has actually, for somehow, I don't know how he did it, but he saw past your disguise and he basically wants to cut you up and put you into a soup or something. So that's kind of how this whole game is spaced out. But those are just some of the many things that I really do love about this game. In all honesty, I've really got to say that this is one of the most memorable and quirky action skill-based puzzle games I have ever played since probably Katamari Damacy. And actually the way that you use both the analog sticks actually strangely mimics the same sensations that you get from playing the Katamari games. Obviously it controls much differently, but it's just as bizarre as Katamari, except more relatable, tons more unpredictable, and probably actually more hilarious. The whole game itself consists of another typical day for our beloved Octodad, as he wakes up one morning on a weekend and has to go shopping and go to the aquarium. And then just to make the plot a little bit more ridiculous and interesting, there are also some flashbacks as to how he met his future wife, and how he got married to her, which serves as the tutorial for the game. And by the way, where these game mechanics only really involve you using 3 buttons and the 2 analog sticks on the DualShock 4 controller, doesn't mean that you could go in there all haphazardly and cockeyed, because this is a hard game and it will kick you in the arse if you don't take a little bit of care with it. Even though there are only that many buttons to use in this game, you will occasionally get really frustrated trying to master the intricacies of these controls. I mean, they may be simple enough to grasp and then just go in pretty easily. They're actually pretty easy to pick up, but it's mastering them that's the hard thing. And you know, being a fucking octopus. They're really slippery, really bouncy, and really blubbery, if that's a fucking word. And that's where the whole skill-based puzzle sections of the game actually really surface and shine through, which overall is basically mastering how to control a goddamn octopus without raising any suspicion while performing and completing the most boring and everyday tasks that you could ever imagine coding into a video game, such as, I don't know, mowing the lawn and making coffee. However, the way that the whole game works and the way that Octodad controls and the way that the environment completely hates him makes these usually simple tasks excruciatingly difficult to pull off. And due to the wacky physics and occasional unpredictability of your limbs, this then makes all of these tasks extremely challenging, but yet really, really fun. Mostly because of the fantastic sense of humour that this game has, and how it is actually worth persevering through some of the more difficult tasks and stages to see how the plot unravels itself and discover more about the backstory of this stupid concept. And the jokes that are pushed towards you are fucking brilliant. You'd think it would just be like, you'd think it would get really old with the one gag of nobody knows that Octodad is an octopus, but it isn't that lazy. It actually pushes tons of really fucking great jokes at you, whether it be from all of the posters of the walls of like the supermarket, or even like overhearing character dialogues on the ship in one part of the game, and in the supermarket itself again, and the aquarium over the tannoy. Every single joke that is pushed into you, even if it has no relation to fish or Octodad himself, hits its mark brilliantly. Now I've got to clear something up. When I said earlier that this game has occasional unpredictability of your limbs, I'm not saying that in a way that this game is deliberately broken in order to get a cheap laugh, because it really isn't the case. Because this control scheme, where completely wacky and insanely bouncy, is actually properly durable and properly functioning. Like I said earlier, it's something that's really easy to understand and grasp the concept of, but insanely difficult to master. Which then, in turn, makes every single puzzle that you solve the most rewarding experience you could ever imagine in a video game when you nail it. It tests your skills as well as your mind when you think about how you're going to approach every puzzle and tackle everything from different angles. Yes, it can be occasionally frustrating sometimes. I mean, hell, I was shouting at the screen on more than one occasion. And also, my thumbs, when it came to the more delicate movements and trying to solve the more smaller, tight-spacedy kind of puzzles, it made me kind of twitch a little bit. I wanted to move a little bit more, just move a little bit more instead of being so delicate and precise. But what makes this really great is that the laid-back attitude and nature of this game is emitted throughout the whole house when you're playing it. And combining that with the ability to basically destroy everything then makes every goal worth finishing through. And that's because this game does something that not many games can actually do really well. It makes failure nearly equally as fun and brilliant as actually getting through. Due to the majesty and utter glory of how much you can fuck some of these basic tasks up, then makes this game extremely fun to persevere through, because it teaches the player that losing isn't an annoyance. It's never stressful at any point of the game, it's never outright harsh in letting you completely fail and making you feel really bad about yourself, and the drive I got from this game it was just great. It's just as enjoyable and hilarious whether or not you win and lose, which is incredibly difficult to pull off in a game like this. And you'd think that this game would get slightly repetitive with this control scheme and the gameplay style, and you'd think it would all be the same thing. But seriously, it actually doesn't, and that's because of a number of things. Well, not just because of the environments you explore and all of the different, like the cartoony chops and like the comic style aesthetics and all that stuff, not just because of them, but the way that it constantly throws brand new ways of making you apply the same controls but executing them into diverse and gradually harder situations. And where the story mode itself is only about 2 hours long in its entirety, that length is perfect for what this is. It then means that the whole concept of this game never feels drawn out or tired from the second that you start it up. It's a perfect length for something like this. Because of this game's length, the whole idea and the whole controls and everything never outstay its welcome. It's a perfect length for you to jump in, have a go at it, or finish it in one go. It doesn't let you come away from it thinking, oh god, how much have I got to go left with it? It's perfect. And there's also loads of replayability to this as well, with all of the hidden ties that you can find around the stages. There are 33 ties all in all that are spread throughout the whole story, and they are exceptionally well hidden, like exceptionally well hidden. And where unfortunately they don't actually add to anything that special once you find all of them, finding them in itself is amazing. Using your skills that you have learnt to manipulate the controls and manipulate the entire environment to do something you weren't supposed to do, to find these ties is worth it within itself. The reward that you feel from kicking this game in the balls is unlike any I've ever experienced in a puzzle skill-based action game. Also, who can forget the awesome idea of a co-op mode in which each player can pick which limbs they want to move? That's fucking ingenious. Not to mention there's even a tip-top secret stage which is hidden in one of the levels, which, where it may be based on a two-dimensional plane, actually turns out to be, in my opinion, the hardest level of the game. So it just goes to show you that all of the variables to how you can use the controls to your advantage and to how the programmer can make the game tricky, even in a 2D plane as well as 3D, it's really admirable. It's constantly fresh and constantly fun throughout. I don't know how they did it. What I don't like about this game are actually three things. Firstly, occasionally, very occasionally though, it only happened about 3 times for me, but still, Octodad, the way he moves and the way that he can... The thinness of him means that occasionally he can get stuck. And I don't mean just getting stuck in something, I mean clipping through the environments or getting completely stuck in between a person's legs, for example. It happened 3 times for me and it forced me to restart the stage. Luckily, the checkpoint system of this game means that you don't actually lose that much progress, but still, it's kind of annoying to force restart to something which was going so well to begin with. I'm not saying that the camera itself glitches, but this is an open-ended 3D plane and the camera cannot be controlled in it. And obviously that makes sense for what you've got to do, and it actually works 90% of the time, 95% of the time. It works most of the time. But once or twice it can really fight against what you actually want to look at in order to navigate easier. I mean, what makes things much easier on that front is that by default, Octodad himself is on a transparent mode, meaning you can just look through him. And if you turn that off, when you're trying to use that camera, I don't know why you'd want to turn it off, but if you're trying to use this, you're trying to work around this automatic camera with the fucking untransparent mode, an opaque mode I should say, that makes it incredibly fucking difficult to do most things, which then isn't fair on the player when this action puzzle game gets an unintentional difficulty increase from something fixed into the game design and completely out of the player's control. Such as, for example, the automatic camera in this game, completely indirect and completely out of the boundaries of player input, but still can make things harder when it shouldn't really make it so. But like I said, it isn't that bad at all, really. It's only really occasionally where this happens, but it can be a bit annoying. And for the third thing, as douchey as this may sound coming from me, and because I know this is an indie game and everything, but I think that the price is a bit excessive. Now, this does not change my mind at all as to how much I think that this is one of the most best structured, best lengthed, funniest, challenging, and memorable skill-based puzzle games in recent memory. But still, taking a step back, considering everything that you get, £12 feels like a bit too much for what you actually get. Still, I do not regret spending the money whatsoever, and especially when considering that shit like Goat Simulator on Steam are going for $10, you can't really complain in comparison, really, so meh. Anyway, after a tinker around with Octodad Dadliest Catch, I will have to say that this game is a high-end commendable. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm not just saying that for the sake of jumping onto a bandwagon or saying that the silly humour of this game and the wacky physics carries all of this alone, or anything like that, because in my opinion, this game is incredibly well constructed and has actually made that much of an impact on me that I will never forget the fun and the time that I had playing through it. Oh, and the fact that it's got one of the greatest game titles of all time. Yeah, it helps it out a little bit. Minus the high price and the occasional camera or clipping glitch, I have no complaints towards this game, and there's nothing really more to the whole package that I can say needs improving other than, well, £12 is a lot, maybe we could have had a few more levels. I mean, the possibilities for this are endless. What would Octodad do if he needed to take a bath or a shower? What would he do if he had to go to work one day? What would he do if he had to drive a car? So many possibilities that could have been done for the price that you pay for it, but again, that's what they decided to do, so I can't say that. But apart from all of those kind of things, this game is so well choreographed. Every piece for the design and the controls and the length all fit and slot together so perfectly. It's nothing perfect and it's nothing incredible, but if you haven't played this game yet, I would say that you're missing out. A lot. I mean, especially since it's been out on PC for ages and ages. But I would recommend using some sort of controller input on the PC version, because I cannot fucking imagine playing this game on a keyboard and a mouse. It might be funnier, it might be harder, it might be easier, I have no idea, but I can't imagine doing it. I mean, you can even use the touchpad on the DualShock 4 for the PS4. Yeah, the touchpad. That's fucking suicide. I tried it and I couldn't fucking do it. But you know, anyway, especially if you have a PS4 now with its recent release, I would say definitely give this game a go, because I haven't had this much fun from a skill-based puzzle game in a long, long time. Farewell everybody, and until next time, take care. Hello everybody, and thanks very much for watching my review on Octodad Dadliest Catch on PS4. If you like what you saw, then please don't forget to leave a little like for me, because not only does it help me, but it helps out all of your favorite content creators out on YouTube a ton. And if you want to see more about what I do, I upload a video every single Sunday, and not just these kinds of videos. I do stupidly edited and scripted videos on ridiculously old, stupid games, so go and have a look at them as well. But don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of those things. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all the links are in the description. And also in the description is my Games Grabber profile, which I explain a little bit more about in the description. Basically, if you want to see what's on my shelves right now, you can follow me on there and then buy the games directly, and all of my equipment as well. Buy everything straight from there, so you know, that's always a good go. And also, I'm linking on to here the trailer video, sorry, I'm getting confused over myself, the trailer video for a new video game that I'm actually starring in and voicing over in called Buck. And that's where the trailer video is, and there's a little bit more info in it on one of my other videos, so please go and have a look at that, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, so thanks for watching again, guys. I'll see you all next time.